Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking into our latest TDR Trade to Black podcast. Last week, a lot of big companies in the space reported their latest earnings. Still have a few more this week as well. But most importantly, what was the big takeaway? There were some good companies with some strong earnings, some others. There were some questions around it. Well, we're going to dive into some of those, including Canopy Growth, as we bring in their CEO, David Klein, here this morning. But before we do that, let's welcome in TDR co-host Anthony Varell. Good to see you.
Very busy week. I mean, I think we had streams every day other than Tuesday, and it was it was busy all around. It's
Still
great.
going to have
It makes it feel like there's wind back in our sails during earnings season.
Well, let's face it, you and I, it's just like Groundhog Day for about 60 days where it's just getting up, you're waiting for some news. And I know July was kind of a slower month, but just everybody being
Yeah,
relatively quiet leading up to earnings. And we have all this speculation regarding rescheduling, but things are going to get very busy for us and our schedules. But this is what we
yeah,
live for, right?
yeah, very much so.
Yep. All right. Let's welcome in CEO of Canopy Growth, David Klein. Happy new week. And last week, obviously, you reported your earnings, and good to see you. How are things?
Things are great, guys. Thanks for having me on. And I agree with your with some of your setup in that there's a lot going on for our industry, and it's an exciting time to be here.
Feels like the dog days of cannabis industries. I keep saying this. Like we're at a turning point. We could see some drastic changes within the industry, and who doesn't love that? The optimism and what could be, because this is what this whole industry is about a lot of the times. Because, I think the biggest sentiment I've learned is just hurry up already. It's just so much stuff that's on the horizon as
Yeah,
far as growth. Your story isn't really any different. But it's just that the hardest part, as Tom Petty once said, the waiting game is the hardest part, and that's the reality. But that's just the truth when it comes to the growth of an emerging industry, right?
Yeah, and look, and that's I think the way investors need to think about all of the companies they're looking at in the cannabis space is because there's so much reaction as to what happens in a given day or in a given quarter. And the fact of the matter is, we're building an industry, and I think it's the piecing together the things that you like about components of the industry is a way to think about
Yeah.
how you should
yeah.
invest.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, well, let's jump into your latest earnings, Q1 2025 numbers. You posted your press release last week, recorded a medical cannabis increase of 20% year over year, and the sixth consecutive quarter of growth. Gross profit of $23 million, which represented a 67% increase over the first quarter. Revenue overall for the first quarter totaled $75.8 million, and net revenue was $66.2 million, which was down from $76.3 million. However, this was mostly due to the impact of divested businesses. So all in all, how would you best describe your latest numbers?
Yeah, look, I think it was a good quarter for us in terms of margins, right? So we had really strong margins, 32% margins in Canada, 35% margins overall. I think you want to build your business on the back of strong margins, and so we're happy with that performance. And then when I put the quarter in perspective, I have to keep reminding myself that we got our shareholder vote for our Canopy USA actually happened in April, so within the quarter. So it was a very active quarter for us, and it sets the foundation for the rest of our fiscal year.
How would you best describe? Because, look, you're seeing growth in medical. There's, challenges, and I don't think you guys are the only company when it comes to the recreational side. It becomes more and more competitive, within the market, and the market's only so big. But is it safe to say, correct me if I'm wrong, like, is the medical market growing versus, say, the recreational market? Like, how would you best describe that?
Yeah, so the medical market isn't growing in aggregate. Our medical business is growing, and I think we're on our sixth consecutive quarter of growth in the medical the medical market.
Go ahead, Anthony.
How's the international segment going? I mean, I know that we're hearing some positive news out of Germany. The S&B segment was up tremendously. Like, how's that business progressing? And I guess, is there any insights you can give us for Germany as we're a couple months now post Pillar One going live?
Yeah, look, as in in the market, we're seeing good growth in more scripts being written, smaller values on each of them, but that's great in some regards because we're driving trial. From our perspective, we're using historically we've used Canadian flower in the German market. We've now signed some local sourcing contracts with people, which allows us to keep operating our business in that asset-light fashion, because we've all seen this movie, right, where a new market opens up, a lot of capacity
Yeah.
comes online. It's short for a while, but then you end up with oversupply, prices compress, and then and then you have issues with your margins. We're actually taking our learnings from Canada and other markets, and we're saying let's keep the asset-light model and allow our business to grow that way. So, I think there's some really good reasons to be optimistic about the German market in general, and what we're doing in Germany as well.
What would you say is the biggest lessons that you've learned in Canada that you're implementing overseas?
Yeah, it really is just don't chase capacity, because it'll come to you. Now this quarter, our Canadian recreational revenue wasn't where we wanted it to be. We said on our call we were below plan for that. A majority of our miss had to do with supply constraints in Canada, some of which were
Yeah.
with our supply partners, and so we need to make our supply chain more robust. And we've done some things that give us comfort there. We also have some NPD coming to market. So we think we'll get a really good recovery in the growth story for our Canadian rec business as the year goes on. But I think the learning, though, is, it took us years to recover from our initial activity, which was to chase capacity, to chase production capacity in Canada. So we're not doing that in the European market, because we know there'll be good supply of high quality product at good prices over time.
Hence the reason why you outlined in your press release of the divested businesses in your latest reports. But if any concerns regarding investors that pertain to that and some of those lower numbers, how would you best address that and answer their questions?
Yeah, I would say that our international business is on plan, and so it's doing exactly what we'd expected it to do. And you'll see really solid growth as the year goes on. You'll continue to see growth in Storz Bickel, and as was mentioned, in the German market alone. So Storz Bickel's been in the German market for about 22 years. In the German market alone, Storz Bickel was up over 100% in the past quarter, and it really is those new consumers saying, "Okay, I'm going to use flower, but I'm going to use flower in a Storz Bickel device." And then, on the Canadian side, from a revenue standpoint, we still think we're going to see growth in our medical business, over time, and we believe that with some NPD that hit the market late in Q1, we're going to see an improvement in our supply situation. We're gonna get back to good growth in the Canadian.
What's the plan? What's the plan to grow that medical to grow that medical business? Because I mean, if the market's not growing itself, I'm assuming your customers are coming from other competitors in the market. Like, what's driving that, or what's the plan there to siphon off market share?
Yeah, it's straight up
customers.
Yeah, it's straight up execution. It's doing things right so that consumers love what you do. Our medical site in Canada isn't a Canopy only site. We carry other products so that people who come to our site as a patient can buy our products, but they can buy other people's products as well. We think our customer service is second to none in the marketplace. Our ability to quickly fulfill orders, we think, is second to none. So I think it's just execution, because we have people that require cannabis for medical purposes, and we've got to be flawless every single time.
Okay. And then before we dive into CUSA, that's obviously the big part of the story right now. I just wanted to ask you a question about Delta 9 beverages in the States. I mean, you were with Constellation for 15 years. I've studied a little bit about the beverage business. It's usually build and buy, and cannabis, hemp-derived beverages is, we'll call it a macro trend within the cannabis trend that's currently taking shape. Are you hearing anything from the powers that be at Constellation, or is it a conversation internally at Canopy to get into that vertical? As we've seen a ton of entrants in that space, and it looks like it's just growing. It's not going to be retracting here anytime soon.
Yeah, look, the cool thing about that, intoxicating hemp kind of entire business, right? And Wana is in that business, beginning with this quarter, is it allows for everyday consumers who wouldn't normally go into a dispensary to try our products. Mm-hmm. And so there was always we always felt that kind of like share of a wallet as for an individual consumer would be, 30-40% edibles and then everything else, right? That
Yeah,
hasn't materialized. And I think it's because we need to bring in consumers who wouldn't go into a smoke shop or wouldn't go into a dispensary, but would love to try our products. And then once they did try them, they would continue to use them. So yeah, like Juana's in the space. And I can tell you just anecdotally, we're getting approached every day by people in the alcohol industry
I'm
around
sure.
partnering with them in some way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, we're going to lean into our constellation roots in the alcohol networks and so forth. But also, look, we just need to be on the shelf because I'm pretty
yeah,
convinced if we get, Wana in the hands of consumers, it'll help. It'll help for new consumers, but I also think it helps grow the brand, even in dispensaries.
definitely. Definitely. I mean, I said that when I saw the first Delta 9 products hit. I was like, you just took the brand out of the dispensary and into big box retail. I mean, I can go to Total Wine right now and there's 30 SKUs
Yeah,
of hemp beverages, some of them being MSOs and larger businesses that have that dispensary presence. And my wife is not going to find her way to go into a dispensary, but she'll go to Total Wine. And then you get those people to eventually come into the dispensary. So it's almost as if you're using the intoxicating hemp products as like a top of the funnel to get people into your cannabis products. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be fascinating to see develop with how everything goes. But I mean, getting to CUSA. So from my understanding, we're 3 out of 4 down as it relates to Wana, and then 66% of the way closed with Jetty, and then Acreage we're looking to close fully mid 2025. Are there timelines to get everything done as it relates to Wana and Jetty, or those will pretty much fall into that Acreage timeline to
yeah.
where we
So
expect everything
so
to be whole mid 2025?
yeah. So just clarification. So Jetty's closed.
Oh, it's closed. Okay.
And
All the
Wana,
way.
two of the three companies underneath Wana have closed. There's one left to close. We think that'll happen over the next few weeks.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
For Acreage, we've now applied for regulatory approval in every state we operate in. So all the applications are in, and so now we're just kind of waiting to work through each state's process. So we're saying it's first half of 2025, but look, the minute we get the last state to say yes, we're closing on that.
And then I
So
know for the first, or go ahead, Shad.
I was going to say, like, when you frame up, I guess the size of your CUSA business and when that does close, like, how big will this U.S. business be?
Yeah, so actually on the call, last week, Judy actually put out our view that the business has about a $300 million USD top line. Compare that to Canopy last year, where we had a $300 million Canadian top line. So big business sitting in the U.S. We think that from a financial performance, it'll look a lot like you see out of the other multi-state operators. So we're close with TerrAscend. The TerrAscend guys last week reported 20% EBITDA
Yeah.
margins. We think that we'll see something like that out of CUSA going forward. So, a lot of really good, profitable business comes out of our CUSA brands.
So a $300 million U.S. business is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
With any data or insights that you're hearing from your Acreage team out of Ohio, the adult use launch this week?
Yeah, so just to frame up the Ohio launch, it happened on a Tuesday, right? So still don't have information about the weekend, but it happened on a Tuesday. Adult use regulations and rules and so forth haven't been put out to the market. So we were, as an industry, allowed to open under kind of medical rules as it relates to how do we speak to consumers? How can
Okay.
what can we do from a promotional standpoint? And so I would say it was maybe there wasn't as much fanfare around it as there have been in other markets. But everything we're seeing a lot of customer throughput, a lot of new consumers. So because of the medical business, we have medical information or patient information effectively on file, so we know who's coming in that's a new customer versus who's an existing customer. Lots of new people coming into the stores, and so we're really excited about that, how that's going to affect acreage over time.
A lot of foot traffic at the botanist location in Akron. I was there the other day, but I asked the question, like, how are some of these newbie customers? Are they heckling some of the older medical patients that have been around with the draw of increased traffic that was there on Tuesday? They all got a laugh out of that, but it was a great day to say the least, but great day for the state of Ohio. But every single location, including that one in Akron, showed a lot of attention. The atmosphere was great, and again, a lot of foot traffic going in and out. I was there for probably 45 minutes, and there was people coming in and out during the whole 45. So it looks to be like it's going to be an incredible market for a lot of companies, including yourselves, or I should say Acreage, as the industry starts to expand and grow, right?
Yeah, and I think that everybody that participates in the market, so all the retailers were well prepared, right? Because the original assumption was the market was going to open on June 24th. And so I actually think as an industry, we almost made it look easy, right? A lot of other states open and there are lines out the door, and it makes for really cool stuff on social media, but it makes an awful experience for consumers that are waiting around. We were getting people in and out of our shops in,
The one thing I
inside
noticed,
of like 6 minutes. So it was good.
yeah, you're right. They were in and out, and yeah, it was quick, but it was constant flow of traffic in and out. But all right, sir. Well, lots on the go, that's for sure. But I think most importantly, thanks for the update. Obviously, we're checking in with us to kind of shed light on the Canadian market, the international market, and just the ongoing efforts of closure with obviously Acreage and what we can anticipate as far as the timeline. But that's encouraging to see a $300 million US business and just some comparables to other US players when it comes to profitability. But all in all, it seems like an exciting time for the industry, does it not?
It sure is, and we're still waiting on regulatory reform in the U.S., but
Yeah.
Depending on the day, that feels like a lot of positive momentum or a little negative momentum, but we keep moving forward. So a lot of reason to be optimistic.
That's going to ebb and flow here for the next for the next couple of quarters.
Yeah.
Well, months, not quarters.
Give the American people selection and variety. And I think a great example of that is your medical website and cannabis. You see, business flourishes when you give people options, right?
Yeah. And you know what, when you can talk to consumers.
Exactly.
Yes. When you can tell them what you have to offer, and look, we all love this space. What we have to offer is kind of unique, and for me, that's why I love even the point around hemp derived products being available in C-stores and bodegas. It's like let's make this available to people and let people really understand the power of this plant that we work with every day, and there's nothing to worry about in our industry if we can do that.
Yeah. Well, I hope some of our viewers got good takeaways that addressed obviously some of the latest numbers, some of the good things, some of the concerns that they have, and I think you addressed that head on. If there's anything else, obviously people leave some comments below. We'll make sure to reach out to David. But most importantly, I think we just have a better idea as to what we can anticipate, what the focal point is moving forward. And again, I know we talked about in the last 6 months, it was about righting the ship and really getting this business operation and divesting over these last few months and getting this company operating in the right direction. You still strongly believe you're headed in that direction based off these latest numbers?
Yeah, look, the mid 35% margins, like that's what we needed to get to, and now we can build off of that base. And so really, we think we're in great shape.
That's great. Well, listen, tell the team we say hi. Let's keep in touch, and hopefully we see you down in Chicago at the Benzinga conference in early October.
I'm not sure of my schedule at the moment, but we'll have to find a time to connect.
Indeed.
Definitely.
Love the industry. There's a lot of conference events that go on between now and Christmas, so hopefully we can catch up face to face. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for checking in for the update, okay?
All right. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Hey everyone, thanks for watching our latest podcast. What'd you all think? Is there any information that we're missing? Is there anything you want us to cover? As these industries heat up, we're getting access to more and more big hosts. So let us know the questions that you want us to ask for you. As usual, smash that like button. We want this to go viral. Click on that bell for all notifications for the latest interviews that we're doing. And as usual, let's build this community. Subscribe to our channel because we appreciate it, because we wouldn't be here without you. Thanks for watching, everyone.